We're here today to talk about connection. But what is connection? We often think of connection as the relationship we have with others. We think of the bonds of our friendships, the shared mutual understanding between ourselves and others, or the physical act of coming together. We reached out to our community and asked, what are some words you would use to describe connection? The responses were vast. Some of the most common words included relationships, mutual understanding, bond, and link. Within these responses, we saw a trend emerge. The way we perceive connection is often through our social relationships with others. How might this trend relate to an experience you have had with connection? Who are you with? How are you feeling? What were some of your emotions?
For me, an experience that comes to mind was going to a memorial service where I was able to see people in my family that I had not seen for years, and even some I have never met before. To cope with my grief in that moment, I was holding hands with them and crying with them. I was seeking out comfort from the others around me who shared love for the same person we all had lost. The emotions we all felt from losing this person was accompanied by the connection of our love. We all shared this mutual bond. Throughout our experiences in life, why might we seek this connection?
We seek connection for different reasons. It could be to help us make sense of a certain situation. It could be to feel a sense of belonging. Or it could be to help validate and better understand our own beliefs and values. We draw the parallels of these reasons of seeking connection from the work of constructive developmental theorist Robert Kegan and the 3 dimensions of meaning-making. To put it simply, meaning-making is the way that we see and understand the world around us. The dimensions of cognitive, interpersonal, and intrapersonal comprise our ways of knowing. The cognitive dimension pertains to our way of processing information, like how we know that 2 plus 2 equals 4. The interpersonal dimension is how we see ourselves in relation to others. Lastly, the interpersonal dimension answers the questions of who we are and what we value, so the things that are important to us. While we may be consciously seeking out connection linked to one of these 3 dimensions, they all exist at the same time, each interdependent of one another.
Now let's think back to the memorial service through a different lens. Even though we are gaining connection through the relationships and bonds to others, what would it look like if we considered the memorial service without any others present? What would be left? This absence of others creates an opportunity for us to connect with our thoughts and our emotions, or in other words, our cognitive and intrapersonal dimensions. It is an opportunity to be vulnerable in a space that we have constructed within ourselves. Even though we may not see the connection of holding hands, giving hugs, or being comforted, we can still feel the connection within ourselves. So as we sit in the memorial service, we still sustain connection through our memories, our experiences, and our ways of making meaning.
So why might we have shared this story of connection with you today? As student affairs practitioners, it is our charge to develop students holistically. Oftentimes we practice as though connection can only exist through interpersonal interactions, but we know it is more than that. What if our focus was on providing opportunities for our students that challenge them to look within to discover their connection to themselves? This can be incorporated into our practice by creating an environment that encourages students to engage in reflection, as well as creating relationships that promote open and honest dialogue with their peers as well as professionals. Through this environment, we are providing our students with opportunities to connect to their cognitive and intrapersonal ways of making meaning. We give them the ability to see connection as something that exists within themselves as well as in relation to others. We also allow them to see that connection exists beyond their social relationships.
When working with students, it is important for us to remember that students are making connections in a lot of different ways, and not just through their social engagements. Whether we are planning an event or in a one-on-one meeting with a student, we should encourage students to continue to connect, not only with their peers, but making sure that they are taking time to look at themselves. Through their cognitive, interpersonal, and intrapersonal dimensions of meaning making, our students already have the capacity to make meaningful connections. We just need to provide them with the opportunities to do so.